Hmm. Hmm. Hello, welcome to class. Now we're going to do the fourth video of trial balance. Hello and welcome to today's class. In this next type of problem that we are going to solve in trial balance. Before we head to the problem, let's get into the concept of suspense account. Yeah, you heard me right. Suspense. Now that we have seen in the trial balance, we are looking for the arithmetical accuracy of our accounts. The total of our debit column has to tally with the total of our credit column. And we have also seen the kind of errors that can arise. So, there is a chance that an error exists and we are unable to detect it, and our debit and our credit balances are not tallying. So, in such a case, where we are not able to find the error, temporarily we write the difference in an account called the suspense account. So, whichever side the difference is showing, we will put the suspense account on that side. So, for example, if my debit side is greater than my credit side, so my suspense account will be on the credit side. It will have a credit balance, and vice versa. If my credit column total is greater than my debit column total, then my suspense account will sit on the debit column. Now, now that we have seen what a suspense account is, let's get into a problem. So, a businessman wrongly prepared the following trial balance. You are required to prepare the trial balance correctly, stating reasons in brief. Okay, so let's see. They have given us opening stock of materials and opening stock of finished goods. Okay. Then we have wages on the debit side. First of all, the format itself is wrong, of the trial balance. He has made it in the format of an account. And see the heading, trial balance for the year ended. So we use the words for the year ended when we are showing a period. So we will be using those words when we prepare our profit and loss account. But trial balance is a statement showing balances on a particular date, not for a period. So the first error is this, and we'll have to change it. Instead of for the year ended, we will write as at. Trial balance as at 31st March. We have wages, salaries, purchases. Okay, return outwards. So what are returns outwards? They're nothing but purchase returns, and purchase returns have credit balances. Next, debtors are on the correct side. Okay, bills payable, debit balance, no. Bills payable is like a liability for the company, so that will be shown on the credit side. Discount received is not a debit balance, it will be a credit balance because it is a gain. Carriage invoices, right, fuel, wages, cash in hand. Okay, bank overdraft is a liability, so it will come on the credit side. Okay, there are a lot of errors over here. Let's see on our credit side. Capital 3 lakhs fine, sales. Okay, returns inward is nothing but sales return, and sales return always has a debit balance, so this goes here. Bills receivable is an asset, it won't have a credit balance. Creditors is fine. Discount allowed in nature is like a loss for the business, so that will have a debit balance and not on the credit side. This businessman doesn't really know a lot of accounting, does he? I think he skipped his account classification class. Carriage outwards is an expense, it will have a debit balance. Fixed assets always have debit balances. Closing stock of materials and finished goods should not be entered only in the trial balance because they're usually shown as a adjustment. Okay, so let's get started. Opening stock of materials and opening stock of finished goods has been recorded correctly, so let's write those. So this will have a debit balance 1 lakh. Next one will be opening stock of finished goods. 1 lakh 50,000. Next we have wages. Wages is 3 lakhs. Okay. So that will be correctly, it has been correctly recorded. So on the debit side, 3 lakhs. Next we have salaries, 2 lakhs, debit side. Okay. Number 5, purchases. Purchases debit balance of 8 lakhs. Number 6. Okay, see, return outwards 10,000 is purchase returns. Okay. And purchase returns has a credit balance. So I'm writing an N here, which means there is an error. So credit 10,000. Number 7, debtors, debit balance 2 lakhs. Number 8, bills payable 80,000. Now bills payable is a liability for the company. Get it? It's a liability. So liabilities have credit balance. Number 9, discount received 60,000. Even discount received will have a credit balance because it is like an income. We have saved some money by getting that discount. In a way, it is a sort of gain. Number 10, carriage inwards is an expense, so it will have a debit balance correctly recorded. Okay. Oh, yes, you have to write a note here and a note. Carriage inwards 30,000 debit balance. Our next expense is fuel. Fuel will have a debit balance 15,000. Then we have accrued wages. What are accrued wages? Outstanding wages in a way. Accrued wages is also wrongly has been given a debit balance. It is a liability in nature. So we have to make it a credit balance. Accrued wages are those wages that the company has to pay but has not yet paid. So in nature it is a liability. Our businessman has wrongly recorded it in the debit side. It is a liability, so it will have a credit balance. Next we have cash in hand. Cash in hand is an asset. So it will have debit balance. This man has recorded that correctly. Next we have bank overdraft. Now I think you know by now that bank overdraft is a liability in nature. So it will have a credit balance and we have to record it on the credit side, not the debit side. Okay. Next capital 3 lakhs credit side. Okay. Then we have sales 13 lakhs. Return inwards is sales return. Okay. And sales return will be a debit balance, not a credit balance. Bills receivable in nature is an asset. So it will have a debit balance, not a credit one. They have wrongly recorded it in the credit column. It should be on the debit side. See, despite all these errors, they have still managed to get equal totals. Number 19, creditors 50,000. Okay. This also he has recorded correctly. Then next one is discount allowed. Discount allowed in nature is a loss to the business, right? So it will have a debit balance, not a credit balance. So note. Next one, carriage outwards. Whether it is inwards or outwards, it is an expense. And expenses have debit balance. So it will be recorded on the debit side. Next one we have fixed assets. Fixed assets, how can it have a credit balance? We all know assets have debit balance. So 1,50,000 on my debit column. Okay, and now here they have mentioned closing stock. So note that closing stock won't be recorded in the trial balance because we already have our opening stock and our purchases. So it will already be adjusted and we don't need to record the closing stock. See, closing stock of materials and finished goods won't be shown in the trial balance. It represents a part of the goods which are purchased but not yet sold. See, the total purchases have been included in the trial balance, so there is no need to include the closing stock again. If the closing stock has been adjusted against the purchases, then it makes sense for you to record. But that has not been done in this case. That is why we are not recording the closing balance. That is why we are not recording the closing stock of the materials and finished goods. Okay, now let's calculate the totals. Let's do my debit. I'm doing the debit column first. 1 lakh, 1,000 plus 3 lakhs plus 2 lakhs plus 8 lakhs plus 2 lakhs plus 30,000 plus 15,000, 20,000, 50,000, 1 lakh 20,000, 30,000, 5,000, 1 lakh 50,000. Okay, so my total is 21 lakh 70,000 on my debit column. Let me write that down. 70,000. Now I'm going to check the totals of the credit balance. So I have 10,000 plus 80,000 plus 60,000 plus 10,000 plus 3 lakhs plus 13 lakhs plus 50,000. Okay, so my balance is 18 lakh 60,000. They have not given us any other information and I have correctly written the accounts in the balances. So let's see what's the difference between the two. I know closing stock won't be included because it has not been adjusted against the purchases. Opening stock and purchases are good, and purchases are good enough for me to get my total figure, so that is not an error. Then wherever I've written notes, yeah, those accounts were wrongly classified. I rightly classified them and put them in the correct column. So I don't see any other reason why there could be a mismatch. So the difference now between these two, 18 minus 2170 is what, 3,10,000. So this difference, I'm going to put it in my suspense account. I will put it in my suspense account on the credit side because my debit side total is more than my credit side. So to tally my trial balance, I will have to write it on the credit side. Suspense account 3,10,000, 2170. So sometimes what students do in the exam is, even when there is no suspense account, they'll end up creating a suspense account because the columns are not tallying. You please be careful when you are making your accounts. This is a very interesting concept, suspense account. Only when there is a need for a suspense account, that time you make it, otherwise don't. When in another chapter, in the upcoming videos, there is an entire chapter on where about errors, okay, dealing with errors and how to correct them in your trial balance and your final accounts. That time we will explore the suspense account even in more detail. So you get a kind of question where they give you a trial balance, and in that suspense account is given, and then some more additional information is given to you, and the question asks you to rectify that suspense account, remove the need for it, balance it out so that it no longer is required to be posted in the trial balance. We will be doing such questions in the future. So this was all about trial balances. We saw what a trial balance was, what are the characteristics. We know that it is made to check the arithmetical accuracy. It is just a working paper and it does not form part of the accounts. We just use it to make sure that our journal entries have been accurately posted in the ledgers and that we have not missed out. However, there can exist certain loopholes by which errors can exist and our trial balance may not show it to us. We have seen now in so many of these problems that we have done the different kind of errors, and we have solved a couple of problems. If you have any more questions, please feel free to write to me in the comments. I'd be very happy to answer. And that's all for this video. See you in the next one.